Hi! Subscribe now for more family-friendly movie reviews in the future. Look, I'm following the laws of supply and demand here. My Human Centipede review and my Trauma review and Serbian film review, turns out those seem to get views constantly, just, coming in, so I figure, why not review more boundary-pushing, disgusting shit on this channel? Hell, I got Cannibal Holocaust in my shelf. Let's fucking talk about it.
The law of the jungle. Eat or be eaten. These film cans tell what happened to the Americans who journeyed into the Amazon to shoot a documentary.
Cannibal Holocaust. Probably the most notorious cannibal movie of the 80s. Probably ever. And for a good reason. Now, originally I saw Cannibal Holocaust. It was about probably like 20 years ago, something like that, at least 15. That was around that time when I started really watching all kinds of gross things. I just wanted more grosser and grosser and grosser, just to check out where my boundaries lie, and turns out I can watch almost anything. But then at some point I kind of quit trying to find, the most goriest and disgusting movies, and I kind of just focused more on different types of movies, and and that's actually a good decision, because back then I remember, I watched all kinds of disgusting and gory movies, and my tolerance was just so high, it was like, I hope the next one will be at least a bit more shocking. But when you watch these constantly, you do grow tolerance, so you get used to it. It doesn't really hit you like it does some other poor fella who's seeing stuff like this for the first time. After having, probably 10-year break from all this disgusting crap. Now it hits different. I'm not saying I'm super squeamish or anything like that, but they do pack a punch way more than back then. So anyway, back then I was so impressed by this movie that I actually bought this, and yesterday I actually unwrapped this. This was new in plastic. So I haven't watched this since. I do have the Finnish DVD version, so all the text on this on the cover is in Finnish. You might not be able to read what it says there, but it is 18, the age limit, so that's pretty much all you have to focus on. So what is Cannibal Holocaust? Well, it came out 1980, and it was directed by Ruggero Deodato. That's a weird name. I'm probably butchering it. Ruggero Deodato, Italian fella, because Italy started making all kinds of sick movies. I need to get more into, giallo movies and all those, Italian horror movies back then. I've only seen like a handful of those, and I can't remember anything about those either. So I really gotta get more into this. The slasher movies and all that, but also the cannibal movies. But yes, this one is widely considered to be one of the worst cannibal movies ever, if not the worst. And after seeing this, if I had to take a guess, I'd say there's a strong possibility that this is the worst one when it comes to gore and all that stuff that happens in this. It's just, it's not a nice watch. Even though it came out in 80s, it looks so low budget, and it's shot so, kind of, I don't want to say crappily, but kind of crappily, that it enhances the feel of the brutality of this movie. I really do dig that,
Hey, Professor, I recognize these teeth. This is Filippo Cagna.
Like after that small boom, they really didn't make many more cannibal movies, but Eli Roth made Green Inferno, and I saw that, and it had its moments, but it just didn't have the authentic feel to it like this one. It wasn't as good, what I'm trying to say here. I still enjoyed it, and I need to see that again. I don't remember it that great, to be honest, but from what I remember, this was definitely hit the marks it tried to hit way better, in my opinion. The movie starts when there's a professor that's going in the jungle with two guides, and he's trying to look for this other group, or at least their films, because they were a documentary group. There were 4 people, and they went in the jungle to make documentary. They pretty much presumed they were dead, and they were right, and they're trying to find the footage that they shot. They do find it. The first half of the movie is basically the professor going into the jungle and retrieving the footage and meeting with a couple of tribes, some who like to eat people, but he's kind of careful. He has the guide, so he knows how to act around the tribes and how to respect them and their ways, and that how he kind of ends up making a deal and gets the footage back. I really do love the first part for a reason where we'll get later on. But yeah, you still see some really rough stuff there too. There's a woman who apparently was fucking around. So there was this one tribal member who did give her some kind of ritual of infidelity or something, which was not nice. No. He came on the shore in a canoe and dragged the woman there on the mud and had. This is actually a picture from that scene, the cover picture. She had the woman's legs tied and dragged her from the rope on the beach and then started to penetrate her. Kind of in a fucking manner, but instead of using his dick, he used that kind of wooden stake there that he's holding in his hand. And that's not all. After that, he made a huge ball of mud, spat on it a few times and shoved it right in there. And after that he continued to bash her head in. They really don't like cheating out there in the bush. Anyway, so the professor and the guides follow him to his village and, they see, there's stuff that the documentary group had. So, they know they've been through there. They do their thing and apparently there's two rival tribes out there further in the woods and they basically like to kill each other and eat each other. And so they continue to push forward deeper into the jungle and, they find another tribe, which are these tree people, and there they find the footage and bond with the tribe over some nice bowl of hisomo. Yeah, hisomo. I wrote down hisomo. I'm not sure if I heard it correctly, but basically it's this kind of dough-looking stuff that the women of the tribe, they put in their mouth and spit back in the bowl. Weirdly, not even closest to being the grossest scene in this movie. Anyway, so the professor returns to US, I guess it was, and there's this network who wants to show the footage because it's unique footage. That's the first time someone's been into with these tribes and got that type of footage, so that's why it's a big deal. So obviously they're really interested in showing it, but before that, they asked for the professor to watch all their stuff. So basically, the second half of this movie is probably the first found footage type of horror film. Well, there's certainly parts that are really horrific, but the thing I love about this movie is it kind of feels authentic, like how things might be if you happen to wander into a jungle and run into some actual cannibalistic tribes that haven't seen any civilization. Is it horror to say that some groups' methods are a bit crude to us? Well, I'll let you be the judge where the horror comes. Anyway, the professor starts reviewing all the footage. And the second part, like I said, it's found footage film where there's three guys, one woman. They pack up their bags and off they go on a little trip to jungle to meet the tribes. Now at first the group seems kind of like they're a fun group and they're doing little pranks to each other and all that, having a little fun like young kids are. But turns out they're really shitty people. Their guide gets bitten in his leg by a snake and they amputate the leg and after that they try to, with the hot knife, what's the word? Right. Well, burn the stuff. I can't remember the word. Whatever. Obviously the guide ends up dying. And after that they continue on their journey and they meet the tribes and they're real assholes. They actually they shoot one of the tribe's pig and then they try to burn them and they burn their village and later on they run into three people and they give it to one of the ladies of the tribe. So yeah, and for some weird reason they're filming that too. Let's just say it all builds up to the end where those poor guys, they're fucking assholes. They deserve everything that's coming to them.
Okay, kill him!
Everything the tribe gives to them, they just go right at it. They chop one guy's penis off before they chop into pieces and then there's the girl. Well, we all kind of guessed what's gonna happen to the girl. A couple of the tribe members run a little backwoods train on her and after that they chop her up to pieces too. And that's pretty much what ends up happening to all of them. Well-deserved deaths. But that's kind of what I like about this movie, because the first crew was trying to honor all the ways and all that, try to get the footage by means of diplomacy and being kind and all that. Where the second group, well, they're just your typical civilized assholes. It's like little Charles Manson's running out there in the jungle. Well-deserved fate, in my opinion. Still, really gruesome to see that, especially because they showed the second part from their shitty little camera kind of for the most part. So yeah, it brings this certain reality feel the whole movie, or the end part at least, and well, kind of the first part too, because it all kind of looks like low budget shit. But the effects in this movie, they were fantastic. They were gross. I mean, they didn't show everything like in your face. They left something for your imagination, so it enhances the experience when something really terrible is happening, like, well, pretty much everything that happened in this movie. But they do show, like they showed on camera, they cut off that one dude's dick, who, I don't know if I was supposed to give a standing ovation, because he deserved that, but at the same time, that fell in my pecker too, a little bit. We're both guys, so I can empathize on having something crappy being done to your dick. That's not good. But yeah, in a nutshell, the movie is all about retrieving the footage from the documentary group and trying to learn their faith and possibly seeing if there's some kind of footage that the studio can use. And actually, I think this movie is really, it does have a really good message, or important message at times. There's a studio, and little by little they watch more and more of the footage and rougher stuff that happens during that footage, the more they want to kind of release it, because, it's sensationalism and people want to see all this and all that, and the professor is kind of washing his hands like, nope, you should not show this to anyone and I'll have no part of this. So it's kind of, the professor is being the moral, decent guy, and then there's the studio execs who kind of wanna. So it's all about the second half, following the studio executives and trying to see if things go a bit too far for even them.
Crew of clowns.
Yeah. They had a great sense of the theatrical.
But yeah, I do actually like some of the messages that this movie was kind of putting out there, studio execs being all for sensationalism, because, controversy creates cash. That's what Eric Bischoff always says, and he ain't wrong, unfortunately. But also about the treatment of original tribes and, civilized people not always being the most civilized. Sometimes it feels like the tribes actually have more order, and I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a thunderstorm outside. But yeah, it's one of those movies that puts kind of a civilized world against the uncivilized tribes, and kind of throws a question to the viewer, which one's more civilized actually, which one's more has more morality, and it challenges your views on civilization. I sound way more smarter here than I actually am. But yeah, I really dug those themes. When it comes to gore and all that is really disgusting. It's sometimes really hard to watch. But at the same time, I do think it kind of works as a driving force to, hammer down the messages way more effectively. Showing that human beings, no matter where they are still capable of imaginable evil. It does feel pretty cheap though overall, but like I said, sometimes it just enhances the overall experience of this movie. Also, I gotta give some credit to soundtrack, which I really kind of dug. It was kind of weird. It basically had two different tunes, this movie. It might have been something else too, but I only remember the two different tunes. There's this one that's kind of more upbeat and kind of happy, but at times, it was used in such a scenes that, I don't know why, but I kind of changed my opinion about the tune midway. While it sounded happy and upbeat at first, at some point I started to kind of connect that music more to gritty realism. Just brutality. That it was a weird tonal change in my brain, because it's the same tune, but I view it differently. And then there's the other kind of synth sound that you can hear every now and then, which is just straight up when there's something, crappy, evil, or just something really unpleasant happening on the screen. I really dug that. It was really simple synth sounds, and there was this this weird kind of pew, and then there were these low tones with the synthesizer, and that really just enhanced how disgusting and unpleasant the whole scene was. This movie was actually banned in over 50 countries when it was released. Also in Italy, it's an Italian movie. So yeah, in there too. But yeah, banned in 50 countries. And actually, the director, he had to go to court because they accused him of actually killing the four guys who were the documentary crew. Because nobody saw them afterwards. It looked so real back then. These days you can tell it's fake, but it still looks gross. Like I said, kudos to the special effects. They still, they they do what they set out to do. But yeah, the director actually had to invite the 4 actors in the courtroom to show that they're still alive. That's quite an achievement. But while the director didn't get convicted for murder, he did get convicted of one other thing. And that's the thing that kind of splits opinions about this movie the most. That's the one reason why I don't feel really comfortable saying all the praises about this movie and how much I kind of overall, well, I gotta say, I did like this movie. The whole primitive violence and actually having thought-provoking messages. There's this one aspect of this movie that kind of ruins it for a lot of people and to parts for me too. And those were the scenes where I kind of had to turn away. I couldn't look. They kill real animals in this. I know it's not always some quick execution. There's this poor little rat or something, a possum, whatever, some kind of Amazonian mice. They stab him to death. And then there's this big, gorgeous turtle and they just chop its head off and its limbs off. And then they start axing the shell. Fuck, that's rough. And then they shoot a pig. 4 documentary guys, they're at this first tribe's place and they just pretty much burn it down and terrorize the people. And after that, one of them kicks this pig. It's a small pig, you know, like this, you know, you have as a pet. And then shoots it, and he really shoots it on camera. That's just brutal, man. I don't condone animal cruelty. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do eat meat. I'm not a vegetarian. I do try to eat more veggies. But yeah, I still do enjoy meat. But I'm not a hunter or, you know, butcher or anything like that. Because sometimes people's defense is, if you're a meat eater, why don't you kill it yourself, you know? But all those people forget that I'm part of one of the most important groups of beings on this planet for its ecological system. You see, I'm not a predator and I'm not a prey. I'm a scavenger. I walk into a store and I eat all the dead carcasses before they start to stink up the joint. I'm like a vulture. So yeah, what's your defense now? But yeah, the animal killings, that was a rough watch. That's why I can't actually even recommend this movie to anyone. It's just, overall, I did really like this movie, but god damn it, that animal killing. Oh yeah, and about the director getting in court and getting convicted. He did get convicted. He got on probation for animal cruelty, so that was well deserved. I probably would have given him like a year in jail cell or something like that, just to... Don't do that. That's just... But, you know, now if there's some kind of silver lining to killing the animals, apparently there were some locals who did eat those so they didn't go to waste. But still, that's a really small silver lining. I mean, like, it's so thin that if you tried to wipe your ass with it, you'd end up with mud on your fingers. But yeah, it's so goddamn hot here, I can't even think straight, so I'm just gonna end this review. When it comes to Cannibal Holocaust, if you took out the animal parts, I think I'd give it like 8.5 out of 10, because it does have message, in-your-face brutality that's sometimes necessary to make the movie more infamous, which helps spread the message that's in the movie also. There's like 2 sides of the coins. One is that it becomes really disgusting, but the second one is that if it does have message, it does help spread it, because people are gonna be curious little sick bastards and go and watch it. Because everyone's saying that don't watch it, it's sick. But yeah, I do like that even though it's kind of cheaply made and maybe the actors aren't the greatest and all that, it's got that kind of raw, natural authenticity feel to it and brutality, and it doesn't paint the tribe members as just the bad guys and the civilized people as the good guys. If something, it actually paints the documentary group as the villains, as the total assholes. The tribe members are just living the ways they know. Then there's the first group, which the professor is the good guy. He's kind of like the voice of reason in this. I enjoyed the movie, but because there's the animal crap, I do believe you can get, if you want to see this and don't want to see those, I do believe there's like cut versions where they don't show the animal cruelty. I do think, at least if you buy like UK copy, for the most part, all the animal cruelty has been cut out of those. From what I've heard, don't quote me on this. But yeah, with the animal cruelty, I think I might have to give it 7 out of 10. It's just, fuck, I don't like that. I don't like that. Even hunters, I get why hunting's actually, you know, important, you know. Well, first of all, you get fed and you keep certain animal populations in bay so they don't go spreading way too much. Hunting is an important trait, but God, I hate those who pose with the moose or deer that they shot, you know, all smiley. And that's like me going to grandma's funeral, opening the coffin, raising her head and pretending to put my dick inside her mouth and taking a picture and posing like, it's disrespectful. You shoot the animal, you use it, you move on. You don't have to put a picture where you're butt fucking the deer, but I don't know, I personally don't like those pictures, you know. If you put those on Facebook, I'm not liking those. Huh, like who cares, you know. You do you, I do me. We have different opinions about this stuff, but yeah, Cannibal Holocaust. I'd say out of all the gross movies I've reviewed, Trauma, Serbian Film, Human Centipede trilogy, this one's probably my favorite. If you remove the animal stuff, this one's probably my favorite because this one actually has way more clearer message. Anyway, I'm gonna quit this review now. Fuck off, I'll fuck off, and we'll meet back here when I upload more crap. How's that? I'm gonna try to throw in one of these sick movie reviews every now and then, just because, you know, people are curious bastards. They seem to really resonate with this. I mean, not resonate, but be curious and what my opinions are about this. Serbian Film, Trauma, those two especially. They constantly get, you know, more and more views. And like I said, I like testing my limits. Not saying I'm gonna push these out every week. I gotta take breaks too. Oh, if you have any recommendations of something really just terrible, you know, disgusting, bad, or anything like that, write it down in the comments. I am currently kind of eyeing at Salo, which was the 120 Days of Sodomy. I once watched that like 20 years ago. I fast forwarded and I was like, well, this is boring. But I didn't watch it like from start to end. I didn't even see anything. I was like, bunch of people talking. And still people keep saying that's one of the worst movies ever. So I'm gonna order that, I'm gonna watch that, and I'm gonna give you my opinion. Hopefully it's not boring. It just looked like that from a quick peek. Goodbye.